Two new budget phones just dropped, the Samsung Galaxy A07 and the Redmi 15C. On paper, they both look pretty similar, both are meant to be affordable, both are incremental upgrades from last year, and both are fighting for your pocket. But when you look closely, the difference starts to matter. So if you are in the market for a budget phone in 2025, which one should you buy? The Samsung Galaxy A07 or the Redmi 15C? Let's find out. When you buy the Redmi 15C, you don't have to spend extra money buying a charger or case because they are all provided in the box. Samsung is only giving you the phone and a USB-C to C cable. Xiaomi is definitely giving you more value for the price. Talking about the price, I paid around 139,000 naira for the Redmi 15C and 135,000 naira for the Samsung Galaxy A07. That's roughly around $90 for both phones. For that price, Xiaomi is giving you 4 GB RAM and 128 GB storage on the Redmi 15C, and Samsung is giving you 4 GB RAM and 64 GB storage, which I think is not enough because apps alone can take up the whole of that 64 GB. In this aspect, Xiaomi is giving you more value for the price. Both phones support dual 4G SIM cards, and you also have a dedicated slot for memory expansion on both phones. Design is subjective. Some of you might appreciate the bold look of the Redmi 15C, while others might prefer how the Galaxy A07 looks. Both phones have plastic at the back and frame, but there are certain colors of the Redmi 15C that have glass or leather at the back. They both have dual camera setup with a single down-firing speaker. I don't like how they both sound. I wish we had stereo speakers on both phones, but if I'm to choose, I'll definitely go with the Redmi 15C. It has like a louder tone. We also have a headphone port at the bottom of both phones, and they both have a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, and I can't speak which one is the fastest in terms of how they unlock the phone. From mere looks, you can tell that the Redmi 15C feels larger in the hand, and the curves are on the phone are also a bit aggressive. Personally, I'll go with the looks of the Samsung. It feels a bit minimal when placed side by side with the 15C. They both feel durable, and you won't notice any creaking or moving parts on the phones. The display is where things start to feel really different. They both have LCD screens with a larger 6.9-inch display on the 15C and 6.7-inch size on the Galaxy A07. We have Gorilla Glass 3 on the Redmi 15C, and it also has a 120Hz refresh rate. On the Samsung, we have 90Hz refresh rate, which is a step up from last year's 60Hz refresh rate. They both have a U-shaped notch with noticeable bezels around the screen, and it's something that don't really look good in 2025. Placing them side by side, you can see that the display of the Redmi 15C looks a bit more sharper and brighter. Icons and colors appear better on the display. One thing I will say is that both displays are responsive to touch, but the 120Hz on the Redmi 15C makes it just feel better. Also, some of you might prefer the large screen real estate on the 15C. Playing games and watching movies just feel better on the Redmi. For display, we have to give it to the Redmi 15C. It's clearly better, bigger, and feels smoother to use because of the higher refresh rate. Before we talk about performance, let's quickly talk about connectivity. They both have a USB 2.0 port. The Galaxy A07 supports more 4G bands, and we have Bluetooth 5.3 on the Galaxy A07 with Bluetooth 5.4 on the Redmi 15C. The Galaxy A07 performs better when it comes with Wi-Fi connection, but when it comes to calls, they both performed excellent. I couldn't really separate them or pick out which one was better for calls. Now, we have MediaTek processors on both phones. The Helio G99 powers the Galaxy A07, while we have the Helio G81 on the Redmi 15C. The G99 is significantly better, and it translates during usage. There are some games that are not even playable with the Helio G81 but run effectively with the G99. Performance is better on the Samsung, and it's noticeable, but if you're a casual user that only does text messages, calls, social media, you won't notice much difference. Xiaomi didn't change the chip from last year's phone. It's still the same thing. Samsung went from the Helio G85 to the G99, which is quite a jump. Not too much fuss about the performance. Samsung is definitely better. Now, software is another major deciding factor, and it's quite easy to make this choice. They are both running on Android 15 with One UI 7 on the Galaxy A07 and HyperOS 2 on the Redmi 15C. The interface of the Samsung feels smooth and less cluttered with bloatware. Samsung is also promising 6 years of major Android updates on the Galaxy A07, which isn't hard off at this price range. HyperOS, on the other hand, feels a bit smoother on the Redmi 15C. It's refined, but it still comes with pre-installed apps and ads around the UI. There is no guarantee of software updates like Samsung, and Samsung is also giving you split screen and pop-up window, which is something lacking on the Redmi. A lot of Redmi users are not happy that they are not getting split screen on the phone. I feel HyperOS lets you customize the phone more, even though the Samsung A07 also does great with customization. Both phones don't give you any AI features, even though around the same price, Tecno and Infinix are giving you a number of useful AI features. If you care about that, you might kind of go for those ones. I'm also going to be working on a comparison with the Tecno Spark 40 and Redmi 15C. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that video. The Redmi 15C has a bigger 6000 mAh battery, and in this aspect you can't really compare. The Samsung Galaxy A07 comes with a 5000 mAh battery, which is decent, but you are definitely getting more battery life on the Redmi 15C. You also get a 33 watt charging speed on the Redmi 15C, which is faster than the 25 watts you get on the Samsung Galaxy A07. It's a clear win for Redmi in the battery aspect. We have a 50 megapixel primary camera on both phones. The selfie on both phones is also 8 megapixel. Now, before we dive into the pictures, I will say neither of these phones is marketed as a camera-centric phone. The Redmi 15C handles color better, and skin tones also appear a bit close to real life, going by the photos showing on the screen right now. Samsung processing just add a lot of brightness to all the pictures, and it just turns out not so good most of the time. For pictures, I will say Redmi is better, and in terms of videos, you can shoot 1080p with both phones, and it's underwhelming, to be honest. So here is the bottom line. The Redmi 15C gives you more value right out of the box. You get the charger, case, bigger storage, a larger 120Hz display, bigger 6000 mAh battery with faster charging, and even better color handling with the cameras. For people who just want a budget phone that lasts long and feels feature packed, Redmi is definitely hard to beat. But the Samsung Galaxy A07 fights back in areas that matter long term. You are getting the Helio G99 for better performance, a smoother and cleaner One UI experience with fewer ads, and Samsung's insane promise of 6 major Android updates, something unheard of at this price range. That alone makes it a safer pick if you want a phone that will age well. So here is how I put it. If you care about value today, go with the Redmi 15C. But if you care about longevity and smoother software, the Galaxy A07 is the smarter choice. And that's the Samsung Galaxy A07 versus the Redmi 15C, two budget phones that deliver in very different ways. Which one would you go for, Team Redmi or Team Samsung? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this comparison, give this video a like so that more people can see it and be able to make informed decisions when trying to buy any of them. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's go.